Hi everyone, this is your second book talk of the year, and I'm going to be talking about some great books to add to your reading list, as well as a little about the book fair. Before we get into that, just some reminders on how you can get a book from the library. The first way is to place books on hold using the Destiny Discover Library catalog. A reminder that you can get there by going to the Valley Middle School website and then the Academics tab here at the top. You click on Library Media Center, and then it's the first button right here, that Library Catalog. The Destiny Discover Library Catalog is easy to use. I'm going to show you again how you can do some shopping on there. And then when you're ready to place a book on hold, you log in with your student ID and your Colab password. Remember that once you've put a book on hold, you will wait to get a Schoology message from Mrs. Kump or myself, letting you know that your book or books are ready to get picked up. And the books are now going to be available in the vestibule outside of the main office. They'll be available all learning days. Most of those days will be Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 3 o'clock on a cart there in that vestibule. The books will be labeled with your student ID number, and they'll wait there for you for 5 days. If you don't come to pick up the book in that time, then the books will be returned to the library. If you aren't reading books from our library, print books that is, you could also be using the Mac and Via app on your iPad and use that for ebooks and audiobooks. I want to take a look with you at the Destiny Discover Library Catalog again, just to remind you that there are some really easy ways, especially if you're not even sure what book you're looking for, to go in and do some shopping for a book to read. Now, of course, you could use this if you did know the book that you wanted. For example, you could type in the name of the book that you're looking for. The Bad Guys is going to be the first book I'm sharing today, so I typed that in up there, and I could click the magnifying glass to search for it. This top banner is going to be changing every week or two. Last week it had books about the election. This week we have books that are trying to encourage those who are looking for a break from Zoom and from screens, knowing that you're now in distance learning. You might be looking for books that get you off of your screens. So Mrs. Kump put on here a lot of our great books that involve cooking and crafting and building. So you can scroll through using the arrow off to the right to find something great that way. If we get below these topic buttons and go down to the collections, we can also do some shopping this way. Our latest collection is Animal Lovers. So for those that like to read books about dogs, cats, anywhere in between, you could click on this collection and see the 87 books that are in here about people bonding with animals, animals helping people, and animal friends with animals. So as we look down the list here, once again, I could click on any of these titles. And when I'm ready to put a book on hold, I go up to the top right corner, click Login, and use my ID and password. Let's talk about a couple good books to add to your reading list today, and whether or not you're going to be checking them out at this point or not. Hopefully you have a spot where you're keeping track of books that you would like to read, and maybe you're in the middle of reading something right now, but this could be something that you add to a list for later on. The first one is the graphic novel series The Bad Guys by Aaron Blabey. This is such a fun series of books about bad guys who are really bad at being bad. They sound like the bad guys and they look like the bad guys. They even smell like bad guys. But Mr. Wolf, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Snake, and Mr. Shark are not very good at it because they keep doing good things. They keep doing things that are actually good guy kinds of things. And the thing they're going to do in this first book of the series is they're going to free about 200 dogs from a dog pound. You've got to read these books to find out how these bad guys who have a reputation for being bad keep ending up doing the right thing and not being so bad after all. Very funny, full of great illustrations, nice short reads. Another graphic novel, though not a series, this is perfect for those who are fans of Raina Telgemeier books like Smile and Sisters, or if you just love a good friendship story. This is Vera's story, a memoir actually. This is based on some of her true life experiences, so the main character's name is Vera as well, as the author Vera Brosgol has written this. Vera just wants to fit in. She's a Russian girl from the suburbs. Everyone in her surrounding area and school goes to summer camp, but they go to these really ritzy, rich summer camps where they get to do all of these fun activities and stay in these kind of deluxe cabins. Well, her single mom can't afford to send her to a summer camp like that, but she can afford to send her to Russian summer camp. Unfortunately, this summer camp is not like the camp that most of Vera's classmates are going to. This is a pretty rough camp. It's a camp where some of it involves history lessons, and she has to use an outhouse like the picture you see here, one of these outdoor bathrooms. And Vera is not a camper. She's not an outdoorsy person, but she's going to learn to be over this summer and this camp experience. Very funny, good friendship story. It's a good one for those who have ever had that experience, and haven't we all, of struggling to fit in or to belong. Be Prepared is the name of the book. Try that one out by Vera Brosgol. Our next book is only about 40 pages long. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. I think that's right. A very short, exciting read with some illustrations. And I'd ask before you read this book to think about the question, do you believe in ghosts? Our main character doesn't think she does. She does not believe in ghosts. She's not one who usually gets scared, which is why she accepts a dare from a classmate. Her friend gives her a dare to go into this old empty house that's kind of spooky, kind of scary looking, but because our main character does not believe in ghosts, she takes the dare and finds out that one moment can change a person's life forever. You have to read this to find out what happens when she takes the dare and how her belief in ghosts is shaken. That's all I'll say about that short adventure read. Don't You Dare Read This, Mrs. Dunphy by Margaret Peterson Haddix. Another short read in realistic fiction. I loved this book. This is about a girl who is required to keep a journal in her English class. Mrs. Dunphy has promised the students that she will not read any entry of the journal that the students title, "Don't read this." Their teacher has said, I just want to see that you're writing. If you have something private in there or something that you don't want me to read, just write at the top, "Don't read this," and I won't read it, I promise. Well, Tish doesn't believe that for a second. She thinks that's ridiculous. Of course the teacher is going to read it. So Tish writes some pretty crazy stuff in there, expecting that Mrs. Dunphy is of course going to read it and respond. But she doesn't. And so Tish realizes that it turns out Mrs. Dunphy seems to be holding true to her word. She seems to be telling the truth. She isn't reading the journal entries that have been labeled, "Don't you dare read this." So Tish starts to let her guard down a little bit, and Tish begins to actually write about some pretty heavy, serious stuff going on in her life. Because Tish's life at home is getting out of control. She has some pretty awful stuff happening to her, and she hasn't told anyone. Not her friends, not a counselor, no one. She's only writing it down in this journal, but she's continuing to write at the top, "Don't you dare read this, Mrs. Dunphy." And as a reader, you begin to hope so badly that Mrs. Dunphy will please just read the journal, because Tish needs help. Read this book and find out how it goes. And Don't You Dare Read This, Mrs. Dunphy. Last but not least, I know on the outset this looks like maybe a graphic novel, and of course, this is connected to, as I've written here, it's connected to the manga stories that are in our graphic novel section. Well, these are also available as chapter books. So if you've already read the graphic novels, you might want to take a look at the short reads that are adventures. These are maybe only 50 or 60 pages long, so they are really quite quick chapter books. This is about Naruto, boy ninja, and Kishimoto writes a great story about a kid who really, really, really wants to be the world's greatest ninja. That's his goal. However, it's tricky because he also causes all kinds of trouble at the ninja academy where he goes. His teachers think he's annoying. Naruto has to prove himself because he's kind of a prankster and a class clown. And because he loves to joke around and cause trouble and jokes, no one really takes him seriously. And that's a problem if he wants to be the world's greatest ninja. Because in order to be a true ninja, he knows he has to also buckle down and be serious and learn the skills. Does he have what it takes? This is the first book in this series, and we have the whole series in the library. Take a look. My last announcement is about our Scholastic Book Fair, which is something we normally would be doing in person and hopefully eventually will again. For this fall, we'll be offering it online starting this Monday, November 16th, all the way through Sunday, November 29th. You can go to the library homepage that we started our video on today and visit the link for the book fair starting on Monday the 16th. You can also see a little promo video that has books available for elementary as well as middle school students. And all the purchases do support our school, so thank you in advance for any purchases that your family makes, because that does go directly to helping our school and adding more books to our library. I hope that even if you are not going to make a purchase, you'll let me know what books look good to you, because I want to know what books we should add to the library from the book fair. So with that in mind, I wanted to show you two videos real quickly here of two books that are available at this year's book fair. The first is from a graphic novel that I'm imagining some of you are familiar with. They've got a new one coming out.
We're the Babysitters Club. Call us if you need us. Bye! Oh my God. Good afternoon, Babysitters Club.
You're learning about yourselves and the way you want to be in the world.
I started the Babysitters Club to take care of kids. But we were more than a club. We were best friends.
Super fun. That'll be great to add to the library, and again, maybe for a purchase for you. The other one I wanted to show you is a fantastic addition to the I Survived series.
Get ready for two new I Survived books based on terrifying true events in history. Josh is on a family trip to Northern California when he finds himself in the middle of the deadliest wildfire season in 100 years. He and his cousin Holly are suddenly trapped in a fast-moving firestorm that's destroying everything in its path. Smoke burns their lungs, and embers burn their skin. They must find a way to escape the blazing forest in I Survived the California Wildfires 2018. And another favorite I Survived book is now a thrilling graphic novel. A killer shark has been terrorizing swimmers along the New Jersey shore. Chet feels safe in his small town, far from the ocean, until one day, when he comes face to face with a shark in the local creek. Will Chet and his friends survive the swim? Find out in the graphic novel adaptation of I Survived the Shark Attacks of 1916. Look for them at your Scholastic Book Fair.
So again, those are just a couple that'll be available at the book fair. If you have any questions about the book fair, about checking out books during our distance learning, about any of the books I shared today, or anything related to reading, I hope that you'll send me a message on Schoology. In the meantime, happy reading and stay well.